TikTok has been known for years as an app to watch dance videos and mindless entertainment. But according to a recent Her Campus study, 74% of Gen Z internet users now use TikTok as a search tool, and 51% actually favor it over Google. Because TikTok offers personalized, short-form content, it's easy to skim tons of opinions or suggestions that you want to see and view anecdotal and story-based content from real people, making it a very attractive way to find binge-worthy show recommendations, how-to content, advice, news, and first-hand information from users around the world. Guys, do you back the fact that Gen Z wants to use TikTok as their primary search engine or prefer to? What do you think about that?
I think we have to look at the evolution in terms of how people digest education. And I feel that with Gen Z, this is something that they've grown up with, right? They've grown up with having the instant access with all sorts of social media platforms and primarily video content. As we know, video content is king. So if they're utilizing that to see any sort of like information, news, source, or any form of learning, I think it does. I can see why it's justified for that, as opposed to Google.
What problems does this present itself?
Depends what you're searching for. I search for air horn pranks. Love them. My favorite. But news, not TikTok. Google.
Do you think you'd ever switch?
No, I would never, because I've seen the content provided, and it's all opinion pieces based on actual fact. So the facts are there, but it's like, well, I don't agree with that. Who are you that I have to listen to? No. And I think that I totally disagree with.
The beauty, though, about it, the beauty is that anyone can come on there and make just an opinion that doesn't necessarily be backed by fact. Yeah. So I love seeing different news sources or something from TikTok, but I love utilizing that to then go check on Google or check with different outlets just to see.
I'm with the Gen Zs. I use it if I need to search something. TikTok. Honestly, I have discovered so many things.
I think it shows a lot about who you are as a person. And that's not a good or bad thing. It's just, I'm very in the middle because, for example, what was happening in France with all the protests, the news wasn't really covering that.
The news wasn't covering
The
it
only people that were people who were actually there on the ground and showing the clips.
So what does that say about the current state of the news?
Well, that's exactly it. Does it, like, Anthony, do you think it shows almost that people want to get away from
We're all ganging up on you.
No, bring it on.
He likes this.
No, I want you to. If you read the newspaper, I knew what was going on in France.
Right.
Read the Globe and Mail.
Great.
Globe and Mail reporter.
Our newspaper is going to be around for
it's on the phone. If it's on a phone, it will be around for a long time.
That is
They'll
true.
always be there.
So I can see
not a physical. I'm not like an old.
But
man,
I can't. You don't get it delivered to your condo.
Never. No.
So I can see that because you can see the person who wrote it. You can know who's credible. Mm-hmm. But I'm going to fight against you a little bit on that because you can look at TikTok users, and I'll take your side on this, to say that, I trust this guy because what he's talked about in the past is truth. It's almost like anybody who has a solid record, you can back.
I'm not going to endorse it 100%. There are people I do follow on TikTok for news on either side of the political spectrum. I think some people are very insightful. I read about government stuff. That's what, or real estate or business. That's what I read about in the news. I'm not interested in who got a facelift. That's not Anthony. TikTok is useful. How to? I'm a YouTube guy. Maybe I'm just old-fashioned. I still go to YouTube. How do you caulk a bathroom? I just caulked my entire bathroom. I didn't go to TikTok. I went to YouTube because that's what I always did.
You can find that stuff on TikTok.
Do you think that this could lead to some... Because if we only rely on TikTok, which a lot of my generation does, I'm not going to lie, they do, and that's what they use as reference, which in some ways is scary. Do you see some big problems with that occurring?
Yes and no, but I also think that even though there's like false information on TikTok, there's also false information on like if you search Google for something, you're going to find both sides to an argument that can present as true or correct. Mm-hmm. So I think that if you find information or find your news on TikTok or information diagnosis, there's even doctors on there that are presenting information. Go and find like a secondary source and look it up to make sure it's actually true.
My concern, those people aren't going to do that. My generation doesn't care enough. Again, all they're going to do is look at headlines. But see, I wasn't around long enough to know that maybe 10 years before my time of researching news, I'm looking at, you guys here. Did people just look at headlines the same way they would now? So really, it only shows that the people who are actually interested in knowing more information, those are the ones that are going to find it.
Yeah.
Well, headlines capture attention, right?
Right.
With everything. And I think that we, like, even with like our parents, right? You know, that's where they grew up on was headlines and newspaper and kind of like traditional forms or cable TV or different, what you relied to get your news source from mainstream media to get
I
that.
see.
And now the mainstream media, now the capabilities to go ahead and create something and to back it with based on whatever you want is now in the hands of anyone who has a cell phone.
I'm going to leave you there. When we come back, are dating apps turning users into gamblers? I know that sounds crazy, but hear me out. 6 American plaintiffs say that they are.